Hello and welcome to Holy Culture. My name is Jay Harrington, and with us today is Dizzy 8. Dizzy, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Yeah,
How about yourself?
good, good. So I came across a very interesting video, which is why I reached out to you. It was you singing, but right below you was kind of an anime thing going on. And I was like, whatever this guy is cooking up over there, I have to, see it. I have to hear it. Like, what is this all about? But before we get to that, for the people who don't know you, who is Dizzy 8 and how did he come to Christ?
So Dizzy Eight is this is a that's a I'm an artist. I'll say that I'm an artist that I make music inspired by anime, video games, comic books, all that. It's inspired by, but it's the message behind it is God. Um how I came to Christ. I was maybe like 12 or 13. That's when I got baptized. And I've always wanted to like be an artist. Um, but I knew that I didn't want to be um, a worldly artist. Like I felt like the things that I saw as a kid, like on TV, wasn't the life that I necessarily wanted to have. And it just felt dark, and so I just felt like that's why I got into my word, to my Bible. I have parents that always kind of just put that in my life, and I gave my life to Christ, and at the age of 13, and since then it's just been a journey that God's been putting me on of just constantly growing me in Him.
It's so cool because I was looking at your YouTube bio and it said the greatest thing you've never heard. And I kind of giggled at that because I said I was like, I was like I've been in CHH maybe like 2 years, so I'm fairly new. So I was like, hey, he's right. Why haven't I heard of him before? And I was having like that yes moment when you find that artist that kind of like speaks to you. It says that you were rapping at 9
Yeah,
and you were making music since 11. So how did that
yeah.
all start? Did you come from a musical family?
Yeah. So my dad did gospel music. My aunt, she did gospel music, so I was always around it. Um, and I remember what did I hear? Um, it was a rapper I heard, Nas. I heard Nas for the first time, and I was like, I kind of want to do that. And I think I can do that. And like this is so like my dad messed around with like hip hop stuff, but like his thing was gospel. And I remember going in the room and telling my dad, "Hey, I think I want to be a rapper." And like I had wrote something for him, and he was just like, "What do you mean you want to be a rapper?" And so he's just looking at me. I was like, "What you know about rap?" And I was just like, "Well, I got a little something, something." And so I rapped to my dad, and I impressed him. And from then on, there he started buying things and kind of just getting me, um, creating the environment for me to grow and to nurture that gift that he saw in me. Um, So yeah, like that's. I'm sorry, did I even answer the question?
No, that
um,
answers the question. And so you
okay,
started making music at 11. So is that when you were
yeah,
producing? Were you just rapping?
yeah.
Were
So
you
I
like,
was rapping and producing. So my dad produced, um, and as I got a little bit older, like 10, I was like, well, I want to know how to produce too. I want to know how to do all of it. So I started producing um, when I was, I believe, 12. That's when I produced my own album. I produced 12 songs and rapped and sung and mixed and mastered all of it. It wasn't great, but it was a start.
were you,
um, so yeah, that's kind of just been that was the beginning to where I'm at now.
and was that secular? Did he let you do secular rap being a gospel guy, or was it a
Yeah,
Christian?
it was definitely like okay, so little 12-year-old me was saying some stuff he didn't need to say. And my dad, I come from a family where like they don't force a relationship with Christ on me, on us. It was like that's something that has to be something. I still hold this belief for my own self. It has to be something that as a choice for the person. So it's like I'm not going to hinder you from whatever God's put on your heart to do, but I'm not going to like. I can't force you to go to church. I can't force you to read the Bible. Um, so like it was definitely a conversation that we had with my dad. So there's a better way of doing something, but it was something nothing that he ever forced on me. I think when I turned 13, I saw some stuff that I didn't like, and that's where I kind of made my own transition, my own personal transition to Christ, and it showed in my music.
Okay, and so it was kind of like a natural progression of your spiritual journey. So
Yeah,
that was your aha moment. And so, what did that start to look like for you? Were you like, because it seems to me like some artists, oh, actually quite a few artists that I've talked to have always like, okay, this is rap. Rap and God don't really go together, and then they kind of leave rap for a while, and then they come back when they feel like God giving them that green light. Was
yeah,
that like that for
yeah.
you too?
Uh, so I didn't. I will say I didn't know that rap didn't go together with God. Well, I feel like I feel like it did because I never heard Christian rap at the time. I had a cousin. Um, he came by the house. He was like a little bit older, like oh, not a little. He was quite a bit older than me, like in his like 30s. But he had a bunch of CDs of like Lecrae, Andy Mineo, KB, just a bunch of different people that I never heard of before. He knew that I liked music, but I was like, I kind of want to quit doing like rapping because I don't want to. I don't know how I can necessarily marry these two things. I don't want to be in the music industry and be like that. So I love it, but I'll give it up. And he said, "Well, there's another way of doing it," and that's when he put me on to Lecrae, and I was like, "Oh man!" So there's an avenue for this, and I think that's where it was just like I started trying to like find my way in Christian hip hop. Um, I will say once I graduated, I think it was a I was on fire for in high school. And I think when I graduated and kind of started going out into the world, I won't say I wasn't a Christian artist. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a Christian artist at that time. I think God was in my music and I talked about God, but it wasn't the focal point of my music. Um, I found myself trying to be. Well, I won't be a Christian rapper, but I won't be a secular rapper. I'll be like a positive rapper that talks about God here and there. And
Inspirational.
yeah, yeah. And that was kind of how I wanted to be. But like last year, at the beginning of this year, I just recently got married, by the way. Shout out to my wife. At the beginning of this year, I feel like God was telling me, hey, like you've been positive, you've been a, a beacon of light to people, but I need you to be bold. I need you to be bold in me. And beginning of this year is when I really I really got back into being just fully outwardly. Yeah, this is Jesus, bro. I rep Jesus, bro. Like, and I feel like this is the first year where I feel like I could say that I'm a Christian artist and wouldn't feel weird about making that statement.
So is that I see that your first single from what I can see on Spotify was 2017. So
Yeah.
was there a gradual shift into the solely Christian music, or was it just like a hard stop? Okay, Jesus from now on.
So
Um,
uh it was like I think if you've listened to my music, I have a lot of songs. If you listen to my music throughout the years, you can hear the gradual shift. But really, the big shift was, I would say, from December to January. It was a very giant shift. Like it went from loosely to me just outwardly being, yo, Jesus, bro. So I'd say I think it was enough for people to notice. I think people commented, people said, hey, people that have been following me and following the journey, was able to kind of recognize, hey, this is something different. You're doing something different than what you did before, and appreciated it. But it was just like, it was definitely an awareness of, oh, he's making music for God now. It's not just us. This is for God.
So I went back because I was really liking your art, like the whole video, the whole anime video thing. So I went back quite a bit on your Spotify release list, and so did you find that you lost some following when you made that radical shift, or did the fans stay with you?
Yo, crazy enough, I grew more. Like I think this year's like my have been some of my biggest gains I've had when just making a shift like that. I think I found a difference of I feel like I found different interactions that I didn't have before with certain people, like more of like of a peer type of thing. But like as far as like people like new listeners, I feel like I've gained more than I've ever gotten since I've kind of like made that shift.
And tell me where anime comes into the picture, because
It's
I
like I
feel
was born
like
for this. It's in my blood, no, I couldn't run from me. No, no. I knew I was meant to be greater. Thank God that I live in His favor. This was never about the work of my labor. Only here cause the heart of a savior bigger than me, but the feeling is major. I never thought I would have made it. I will limit what God can take. It's I had to fire out my hide inside. I think it's time I engaged in life. Think it's time I set it free. See the spirit when you looking at me. Ready for war, I never retreat. Dog in them and I cut off the leash.
because I feel like I don't think I've seen a hip hop artist mix anime. How did that start?
So there's actually an entire community like that. That's where I come from. I come from that community, that side. So like maybe I say 2020. There's like it's called nerdcore. Like it's just a bunch of it's people that make music based off of like anime or video games or stuff like that. It's just inspired. It's inspired music about these things. Um, and I kind of wasn't necessarily in it till 2020. I had a friend that kind of like I was just trying to be a rapper at this time, and I had a friend that was in that scene. He was like, "Hey, like you should do this," because I'm a big nerd, so like he knew that like it would be a genuine thing for me to do. And I was just like, I don't know about that. I don't want to do that. And like here and there, I would I would feature on other artists within that space, music. But I was like, I'll feature, but I wouldn't necessarily do it. And then just one day, I was like, you know what? Well, not one day. I was during this time I was still living with my parents, and you know my mom had a conversation with me, and she was like, "Hey, um, you got to figure out something to do because like your brother's about to graduate, and you can't live here no more." And so for me, I'm just like, okay, well maybe I'll try it, you know. So I tried it, and yo, I just feel like it had to have been God's will for me to be in this space for this specific reason. Because immediately the first song I created for that space took off. And it was just like song after song after song was taken off in ways that like I was never seeing that before. So and it was even kind of unheard of within the space. So
And what was your first single for the anime music?
I had well, it wasn't an anime song. It was actually a comic book song. It was about
Okay.
Superman.
Oh,
It was about Superman. It's called "Moving Like Clark." I don't like that song. I hate that. I hate that song so much. But that was the first song I did, and I think I did like two more after that. I think the first anime song that I did was something for All Might called "No Fear," and that one exploded. Um, it featured a guy named Fable, very good friend of mine. He's a very prominent figure in that space. He did the hook on that one. It was something about that song that just resonated with people's hearts. Um, and that's why I felt like that when I made that song and it did so well, it showed me that I can reach people through this. And I from then on there, I kind of just went gung ho.
yeah, and the artwork that goes with your music is amazing. I was on your YouTube channel for like a good hour just hanging out. Like, yeah, I'm like, so do you do that art, or is there somebody that collaborates with you for all the art?
So so for the currently right now, I have a team of people. I have a artist who draws the thumbnails. She's a phenomenal artist. Um, she draws all of my thumbnails. I have two editors that work on. Once I send them a song, they'll take the song and they'll go find clips or different scenes from the shows to match up to whatever I'm saying in the song.
Well, kudos to your editor and your artist. They are just like just chef's kiss, just wow, like just
Yeah,
awesome, awesome. And it marries with your music so beautifully. So speaking of your music, I noticed that there is a wide range of sounds that you make. And so
yeah,
one of the first songs that I heard from your, I think it was earlier on, was like metal, but you were rapping with it. And then I know
yeah,
I saw you sing some R&B. And
yeah.
so with you being such a multifaceted artist that you can produce all these sounds and sound awesome in all of them, has there been anything that's been like a roadblock for you since you started?
No, not really. I just feel like I think it's put me in a space to where like I have something for everyone. And like I collaborate with a wide range of people. Like if I like it, I like it, and I'll get on it. Um, I don't think it's actually expanding me because I feel like I never did metal music ever, but I like the guy I was speaking about, Fable. He makes rock music like that, and when he would ask me to be on a song like that. Like a lot of my songs that we collaborate on are also in my catalog, but like some of those songs, it was like, well, I'll try to approach it in a way that fits the song, and I find myself I've been blessed with a unique voice to be able to have a grit that is required for that type of music. And I, the more I've experienced, I've had the experience of like making music in that style. I've able to like take from it and marry it with other genres of music in ways that I've never really seen before.
Yes, and that totally comes through and sound like very unexpected combinations really work. When
Yeah,
I started listening to Christian music in my teens and 20s, I was really into like Flyleaf and, Thousand for Crutch and, all those guys,
yeah,
DC Talk.
yeah.
And so when I heard that sound coming out of you, I was like, oh my gosh, I just found my thing. And so it was really great. So tell me about the art of collaboration. It sounds to me like you have really found that to have worked for your benefit, like for the artists that you collaborate with, and then them with you. How does that all happen?
Um, so right now, there's like a group of people that I typically collab with, but like early on, I make music. I drop music very, very consistently. So like I'm every 2 weeks I drop a song. That's more so now. Before I was dropping a song every week. So like with that being said, it's very difficult to like write an entire song and have it mixed and mastered every week. So I would always find like up and coming artists to like showcase on my platform. Or I don't even see my platform. The platform that guys has me on. Um, I've always tried to find other people to like who don't have a platform, who don't have a voice, to give them a platform to have a voice. Just because I know when I was coming up, I didn't necessarily have to have that. I didn't always have the opportunities that like that. So I try to find people who don't necessarily have a voice to collaborate with to give them exposure. Um, it's been it's been I feel like God has blessed me with a good ear for talent. So I feel like I typically find people that really shine on the songs that I collaborate on. I love I love collabor I love oh my gosh, I love collaborations. Because it adds something to the songs that I maybe wouldn't have thought or I wouldn't have done. Um, yeah, it just gives people more. It breaks the monotony of always hearing me.
Yeah, no, and it totally works. What do you think has been your favorite collaboration so far?
Oh man, that's so hard. That's so hard. I'd say for this year, my favorite collaboration might have been with my guy Errol Allen. For strongest, it was Superman versus Goku. That went crazy. That was a very fun project that we did. Um, I really enjoyed that one. I said that might be my favorite this year. Either that one or we have a record called "Fall on Me." It's just really passionate. That I loved how he started the song. He really set the tone with how he started the song. That just put me in a different space when I was writing it. It was a beautiful song. I love what Guy did with that song.
I have so I put Follow Me on my list. I put Save Me, and then I put
Mhm.
Unleashed. So Unleashed and Save
Yeah.
Me at the very top of my list, and I've just been playing. Those are just amazing songs. They're really great. But speaking of your platform and success, so I see that you have some really envious numbers. Like people would like to have the kind of following that you have. How do you measure, or how do you define success?
Um, Success. I look at success success is measured by the fruit that you bear. Um, um, so like it's not necessarily it's about my numbers. It's about what's how are, I measure it by the people in my life. How are they impacted by what's going on in my life? Or am I embodying the fruit of the spirit when through all of this? Or am I kind of falling into my flesh? There's times where my numbers look crazy, but I'm at an all-time low because I'm not close to God. Success, that's a good measurement. Success is measured by how close my relationship with God in that season, because it doesn't really matter about the numbers. It matters about the message. It matters about who's being touched by what's being created, who's being saved. That's how I know. When I see a song can flop, but I can get a comment from somebody saying that, hey, dude, I haven't been to church in like 3 or 4 years, but this made me pick up my Bible. That's success for me. That means that I am operating in God's will. It's letting me know that God is using whatever this is, whatever, because this doesn't make sense. Anime and Christianity doesn't make sense. Like if I get comments like that with people who don't get it, and I understand it. I can sympathize with that because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for people to be finding Jesus from a song inspired by Dobby from My Hero Academia. It doesn't make sense. So, but we know in the Bible, the Bible speaks about God takes the thing that the world looks as foolish. He does that so we can't take glory in the things that He does. So that's how I measure the success. Is just seeing how He's reaching people through what's happening through me.
That's beautiful. And my daughter is a huge Hero Academia fan. So when I saw that post on your Instagram, I pulled her over and I was like, come here. I was like, listen to this thing. And she was like, oh. And I was like, it really is. Kind of fan in the making there. So
I love that.
what's in store in the next 5 years for you?
Man, that is so hard. I don't know. Whatever God has for me. Because 5 years ago you would have asked me that question, it definitely wouldn't be here. So I don't know. I do know that um I just want to 5 years from now I want to be even even more matured in my faith. I want to be reaching even more people and telling more people about Christ. But yeah, I don't know what's in store for me. Whatever God has for me, I will accept with open arms.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I feel like his adventures are way more fun than anything that we could think of.
Yeah, yeah, that
All
is
right.
that is a fact.
So in the last minute that we have here in our time together, can you tell us about your latest project and where people can find your music?
Okay, so my latest project is a song inspired by Dobby from My Hero Academia, but the message behind it isn't necessarily about Dobby. It's more so about the feeling of just being lost and being beaten and bruised and burned by the world, but not letting what's scarred you be what makes you. That that you go to Christ, that you go to God for all the things that you're dealing with, and it's more almost like a plea to God to be saved from all the things that you're dealing with, your past, your present. It's a very powerful song. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for God. I don't take no credit in the creation of that song. We pray before we come into the studio, so that was by His will that song was created. That song is called "Save Me" by Dizzy Yates, featuring Errol Allen and produced by Musicality. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. You can find it all over. So yeah, I go check that out. We have more music coming this weekend on Sunday. I'm excited about that. And you can find me on Instagram at Dizzy8. I drop music every 2 weeks. So hope to see you guys.